All right, let's talk about spirituality as opposed to religion. Religion and faith is about following rules, something that was written a long time ago, something that was handed down, traditions and things like that. That's so much stuff wrapped up in old tradition and way things used to be, and our interpretation of history and what one person says, the next person writes down and talks about, and what did they get from what somebody had to say a long time ago is not, inherently is not the best way to get good, solid, reliable information. Now, on the other hand, there is a spiritual side that doesn't get bogged down by any religion, that basically just says there's a higher source than my thinking mind that is at play here in the world, in the universe, in plants and animals and all that type of stuff. And I certainly wouldn't describe it as a person, like a guy or a dad, but that what I like to call collective consciousness, I didn't come up with that term, but it seems to fit it the best. That collective version of all of us is going to have its own sort of collective agenda that's been created by the masses of people. And it only makes sense that it's sort of just it's a frequency, and different frequencies are like different radio stations. And we know that all of the waves we can do, radio, TV, light waves, microwaves, all that kind of stuff, what we're percepting and playing with is like 2% of the waves that are out there around us. So we're not, we can pick up on sound waves, we can pick up on visual waves from vibrating particles that create different colors based on their wave. And we have perceptors for all that, but we don't have perceptors for a whole lot of, for 98% of the other waves that are out there that involve communication and perception and all that, and awareness. So because we see this little bit, we try to say, well, this is how the whole universe works, and this is how God works, and he's a dad, and he married this woman, and they can have special kids, and they can do special things, and they can break the rules of the universe because they're so special. And it's like, well, that story might have made sense for a minute, but I don't even think it was a story that was trying to be, pushed on anyone at the time. I think it's what we sort of created over the years of trying to put our simple minds to it and put it to a story that we could tell, to people that don't want to really wonder what our purpose is here as people or anything. But anyway, I don't want to get down that tangent. But I did want to say that spirituality, I feel, is a lot easier if your goal is to not have any rules and not have any religion and not have anything that you're supposed to believe in or supposed to assume to be right or argue with someone else whether it's right or prove to yourself or whatever. If you're going with the fact that there are no rules, that everything is perfect, everything's working out just the way it's supposed to, everything's being done just the way it's supposed to be done, now we all have to just look at why is it perfect and why is it the way it is. And you start to realize that, well, things are the way they are because the world gives you whatever you're focused on. And if you're fearful people, you're going to see a lot of fearful things around you. And if we're angry people, you're going to see a lot of anger around you. If we're loving, kind, gentle people, then we're going to experience and see and create a lot of loving, simple beauty around you. And what you focus is what you create. It's not complicated. That's all there is to it. The rest is, do you want to use meditation to help focus a little bit more positively? Would you like me to coach you off the cliff when you're trying to commit suicide because you think that the world's going to hell in a handbag because, people don't share enough, or that they don't love each other well enough, or something like that. So I could do that. I could just put all my energy into trying to go around and fix everything, so everybody would then one day be happy. But that's just ridiculous. There's no, I don't know. I guess I can't imagine that there's that many people that really push that as that's the way to solve the world. But so many people do that. They're always looking for what's wrong, and they're always trying to fix something. And I don't know what to say to them, but I will just say in this video that it's difficult to talk about the whole conversation about spirituality and inner peace and happiness and the pursuit of happiness and following the path of least resistance. Gently, softly, day by day, doing the least amount possible, because doing normally gets in the way, doing a lot less, being a lot more. Just being. Just slow down. Sit with your thoughts. They're going to come up and they're going to be nasty, and it's like, oh, this bothers me, that bothers me. And then you're like, okay, I got plenty of material here to work with. How do I find all these things that bother me as being perfect? And you just have to move a little bit in your perspective of things. And what you'll find is that as you improve your perspective of things a little bit around you, and we say, okay, at least it's not my job, that's terrible, let's go with this one. That which you're talking about, this situation on the planet Earth today, is terrible. We're going to agree it's terrible. But then we could go back to, is it your necessity that you fix it now? If it's not a necessity that you fix it yourself now, maybe someone else will fix it right now. But either way, or it just doesn't get fixed right away, let's leave the problem alone, and let's instead take the time to do what I was just saying. Sit back and do less, and do as little as absolutely possible. And sit with your thoughts and learn to practice. I guess there's not really much to learn, but just practice having more of a sense of appreciation of good things that are around you, finding good things around you, speaking nicely to yourself, speaking nicely about yourself. And, that whole process is not a matter of, something you can exactly teach somebody. You just have to practice it. So you just have to want to pursue it, because everyone's going to get there in a different way. Some people might want to meditate. Some people might want to just walk in the woods. Some people might want to go for a swim. Some people might want to just sit in a chair and watch the world go by. Whatever it is that you do that you feel more relaxed and more at ease and seeing more perfection around you, then you're on the right path, and every day will be a little better. So whether you're at the same level as someone who's, maximizing, their most relaxed time of the day of, first thing in the morning and staying in bed and refusing to go out into the world and get your head funked up by other people being, mean in whatever way. That's not what you're looking for. You want to get out, get in the world. You're going to feel those funky things. You're going to have those funky days. And then you just remind yourself that there's a bigger picture and that we're all here to grow. And if you're here to grow, then a lot of times tough things are what help you grow. And looking away and saying, I don't need to fix this, is how you go to spirituality. The fixing will happen once you become a loving person. You start loving yourself, you start being more loving to the people around you, and the love vibration becomes more dominant in everyone's home. And it's that simple. And if more of us that focus in the direction of loving ourselves more, then the more of us have a little bit of influence on a handful of people around us, who then have a little bit less, but some influence on a handful of people around them. And you get a bunch of people doing that, and the world's a happier place. When the world's a happier place and people share more, when people share more, then there's not as much suffering. And when there's not as much suffering, then people don't get into, having to take from others and Anyway, so you get what I'm saying, and I'm just inviting you to get on the path of least resistance. Anyway, so I'm always happy to talk about it if you want, and if you don't, I'm okay with that too. Anyway, see you guys. Love you. Out.